Week one of the National League in the books. Women's college water polo, a major tourney on tap this weekend in Irvine. More Dare to Dreams, all coming up on a brand new counterattack. Hey everyone, Greg Mescall here. Thanks so much for joining us on the counterattack right here on Overnght and USA Water Polo. The new and improved National League, week one in the books in Southern California, 3 venues hosting. Thanks to everyone that came out to cheer. Some great crowds on hand this weekend. And of course, everyone that watched live right here on Overnght or on demand. Looking forward to week 2 coming up soon. That'll have action in NorCal and SoCal. Let's take a look back at what transpired here in week 1 with some sights and sounds.
The National League is something really special. We haven't seen something at this level for some time. This year especially, there being 3 different divisions of just the open teams, as well as an 18-under division. Growth of the sport is actually dependent on the growth of the senior level, the men's and women's level, because kids need heroes. The stigma is that your golden years are in college, but we all know that that's not true. We got our guys that are able to play into their 20s and their early 30s, or their late 30s. I'm 38. Continue to excel at the sport, but really see it as a craft.
What a great start to the league, to the year. It really is an important time of year when we can get these teams back together in cohesive groups, training, working toward a championship that'll happen in May. You know, there's no better competition here in the U.S. than this league.
National League is a top league in the country. There's nothing like it. It's really exciting that we're able to participate in this as club events and also 18U events. For the 18U competition, this is great, this pilot program, because it gets to get these 18U and under players experience, and also in front of big crowd, big time refs. You know, they're really here to work hard, understand what the next level looks like. And then the next level, it's important for these guys in the offseason to compete against others and not just themselves, especially with a new squad. For them to have this kind of squad and this kind of repetition now, it's going to help them for the summer and for the fall.
Well, every game is a guaranteed tight matchup. It's a guaranteed high-stakes opportunity. We're so fortunate here in Southern California and California at large for water polo to be a bigger sport for us. But to have such close proximity to these athletes, I think it's good for the kids. It puts pressure on them to play a more mature style of water polo, a more advanced style of water polo. And it also gives them something to look forward to. And more opportunities like what these men have achieved behind us. The best part about having that 18U division for all of our high school players is to see, Olympians, national team legends behind us. For them to have the opportunity to sort of speak with and watch all of these legends of our sport, both nationally and internationally. It's so great for water polo.
So after 1 week of play in the National League Open Division, defending champ Mission, aka UCLA, off to a great start. They're 3-0. New York Athletic Club, a perennial favorite in the NL, also off to a 3-0 start. Don't forget more National League action coming up in 2 weeks. Venues still to be announced in Southern California. In Northern California, we'll see the debut of the NorCal Conference, and we know that University of the Pacific will play host in Stockton. All the games, like week 1, available right here on Overnght, and also live stats available through 6-8 Sports. Looking over at the 18U Conference, this is the first time 18U action taking place in the National League, and the Dons, La Jolla, and Newport all off to a good start there as they all open up 3-0 to open up play here in the National League. More action in the 18U Conference as well coming up in a couple of weeks. Now let's switch gears to women's college water polo. Busy weekend this past weekend. Arizona State hosting their annual invitation in Tempe. More big-time action this weekend with the Barbara Calbus invite. We'll touch on that in a moment. Let's take a look back at some of the big highlights from this past weekend. First, ASU, as they went undefeated at home. They took out San Diego State, and then UCLA over UC Irvine. All the action right here live on Overnght.
That's a goal. Good start for ASU. They have one here. Look at this.
Great
Terrific angle. Yep, shot here for Millie Quinn. And of course, Quinton scores 5-2.
Penalty shot, never a doubt. And, you know, probably the most impressive was what the goalkeepers were able to do against Cal Lutheran. So back at it again.
Taylor Smith. Smith has been tallying up goals left and right. Fires, scores. Sides come even, power play killed off. Inside, dumped in, and the Bruins take the lead. Once again, maybe a hand on the field block. Fed inside, and the Bruins stash it in.
And now on to our college scoreboard. Augustana getting past UC Merced in overtime, 12-11. Take it back east. The Red Flash out of St. Francis over VMI, high scoring, 18-13. Marist defeating Fresno State. That's a good win for the Red Foxes. Big time victory there, 13-10. And then Cal in action outside of Arizona. They defeat UC Davis 13-12. Close one there. Good battle from the Aggies. More water polo this weekend. The Barbara Calbus Invitational coming up at UC Irvine. Bit of a smaller field than it has been in the past, and also a pivot to an advancement tourney. So we'll have a champion crown at the Barbara Calbus Invitational. All the top teams taking part: USC, UCLA, Stanford, Cal, Hawaii, of course, Irvine, the host. The list goes on. We'll share results next week right here on The Counterattack. Now moving over to Dare to Dream. These tourneys wrapping up here this past weekend. Wissahickon, Pennsylvania playing host. That facility has become a great site for water polo in the Northeast. And then this upcoming weekend, we'll wrap things up with our final Dare to Dream. It'll be out in Hawaii, in Honolulu. Excited to have Olympian Janai Kerr on the scene to close out our Dare to Dream calendar. And now we turn to our big conversation, or in this week's case, our big conversations, as we caught up with a whole host of participants from week one of the National League. It was a fantastic weekend of water polo. We were at the pools all weekend long, bringing you all the great coverage. Looking forward to doing it again in a couple of weeks for week two. But here are some thoughts from the first weekend of NL play.
Just to highlight the competition that we had tonight. What a great start to the league, to the year. It really is an important time of year when we can get these teams back together in cohesive groups, training, working toward a championship that'll happen in May. There's no better competition here in the U.S. than this league. And, we saw it tonight. We had some very competitive 18-under games at both sites, not just at UC Irvine, also at Marina. Mission and Newport was really a nail biter. Pride and Shores was also great. It was a really close game with Pride pulling out the win 11-9. And then, here we had Atos and SoCal to start it off, and that was just a battle. It went back and forth, a couple lead changes, followed up by LA Premier and CDM. Some really great, great young level water polo tonight. And then, of course, kind of the crown jewel of Friday night here was Anteater and Fight On. And man, did Fight On look really, really good. Anteater gave them all they could, but at the end, Fight On just pulled away. And then over at the other pool, the USAB team pulled out a close victory over CIU and a lot of the Santa Barbara guys. So, just really excited about what we have going leading into the weekend. Really excited for a full slate tomorrow with 3 different pools. We're going to have some very high level games at Beckman up in Irvine, and then again at Marina. And then, of course, our game of the weekend is going to be right here on deck at UCI. We have LAAC, which has got a star-studded lineup. They're going to see Fight On, who we saw tonight, and they were great. And we expect that to just be a real battle.
National League is the best of the best that the United States can offer. I mean, nowadays you have a lot of even retired Olympians. You have current Olympians like me and my little brother and stuff like that coming in and playing. We also have the best in high school. We also have the best in college. And being able to see this when in the past there's been no offseason, there's been no continuation. So being able to see that during the offseason and being able to see people grow is what everyone lives for. And it's kind of like, it's kind of rejuvenating to really see this. And I'm excited for the future. This year, especially, there being 3 different divisions of just the open teams, as well as an 18-under division. And that's something that we've always knew was really important. Myself and others around me believe that the growth of the sport is actually dependent on the growth of the senior level, the men's and women's level, because kids need heroes. So the more that we can develop that, we think that will inspire more kids, especially guys just coming out of college, just to continue playing, because the stigma is that your golden years are in college. But we all know that that's not true. We got our guys that are able to play into their 20s and their early 30s or their late 30s. I'm 38. Continue to excel at the sport, but really see it as a craft that you can continue to hone and just accelerate the game. Excited about the sport. If you're wanting to learn if you wanted to improve your game, you have to watch the best players play the sport. And that's what this is. All respect to our top D1 NC2A level. Like, there's so much heart and excitement at that level of play, and those guys are in phenomenal shape. But the game gets better with age, and you'll see that with New York Athletic Club, Olympic Club, Riptide, South County, and LA Athletic Club playing at the highest level. So if you have any interest in this game, you may as well see it at the highest level to get inspired.
I think it's good for the kids. It puts pressure on them to play a more mature style of water polo, a more advanced style of water polo. And it also gives them something to look forward to. More opportunities like what these men have achieved behind us. So we're very happy to be here, to be included, be playing at this high level. Every game is a guaranteed tight matchup. Yeah. It's a guaranteed high stakes opportunity. And I think preparing a lot of those kids who want to play at the NCAA or international level eventually.
I think the National League is like a very good tournament right now because it's like an opportunity for like the guys that are done with college to keep playing water polo and are still excited to play some polo at a good level. And right now, America is also drawing the attention on some very elite water polo player like Enes Varga and Filipovic. So the movement is growing. It's a great opportunity for everyone to keep playing and stay in shape.
And now on to our Malmston goal of the week. We go back to National League action. They made their debut at the LA Athletic Club late last year. They're back, some absolute legends. Denis Varga, Filipovic teaming up again for this goal.
An ordinary foul called there. And an exclusion will go against the Anteaters as that one finds the top corner, Filipovic. Another day at the office for him. He's got a hat trick here in the first. Make it look smooth as butter. And the four-time Olympic medalist continues his greatness, giving some words of wisdom to the next generation of future stars, Chase Dodd.
And now to our upcoming schedule, a lot of water polo on the way. You know that there's more National League action coming in a couple of weeks, but we also have Dare to Dream this weekend in Hawaii. We've got the ODP California Girls Evaluation event end of this month, and then March busy for ODP. Both of our national championship events on tap. The boys coming up first, March 6th through 8th down in Chula Vista, and then the girls March 20th to 22nd in Tri-Valley in Northern California. That'll do it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for joining us. And don't forget, when you're on the counterattack, look weak side.